Hey, welcome back to our course. Today I have cleaner hair and braces. Yeah, we're back in turbo nerd mode. Today's episode is brought to us by Bang. Yeah, and nicotine. Before we start, a huge shout out to everybody that helped out with the last video. When I say helped out, I mean watched it. I got like 50 views in less than a day, and for me, that's pretty good right now. So I'm partying. Party time. Thanks. In Unit 2, we'll be covering everything right here. And keep reading, keep reading, keep reading. That's enough reading. We're gonna start doing it now. Okay, so we've hopped right back into our Java project, and what we're gonna do is get rid of my first Java class. We're gonna create a new class and call it ice cream machine, or make it any other machine. And we're gonna open this up, and we're gonna move a little bit faster as we go through the course. So, as always, we're going to get rid of the starter code. We're gonna put some stuff in here. Okay, so the first concept to go over are classes. So when we made a class in the last video, what we did is we created an object that we can make again and again and again. So whenever we make this class here called ice cream machine, we're gonna be able to instantiate multiple ice cream machines and treat them as if variables. You'll understand more in a couple minutes. So methods are one of the most important parts of programming. A method is a block of code that you can use again and again and again. So for example, if I'm making a first-person shooter and the user can reload a lot in this game, then I'm going to want to make a method called reload and have all the code that'll, replenish my ammo or whatever. And I'll be able to say, gun.reload without having to manually code that in every single time I want the gun to reload. I know that was just one example, but methods have infinitely more uses, and honestly, your imagination is the only limit when it comes to that. And if you're working a job, whatever your boss tells you is the limit. Okay, so now we're going to write our first method, and this method is going to fix the machine if the isWorking variable is false. Okay, it's extremely simple. Every method starts with what's called a method header. A header is just like here, the public class line. That's the header of a class. It shows you that it's public, tells you that it is a class, and it gives the class a name. And then you've got these curly braces that hold all the code that goes within that class. Similar to a class, the method will go public. We'll talk about protection levels and what public and private means in the future, but just type public for now. And then here we need a return type, and a return type specifies what type of information that we're sending back to the code that called this method. Say, Eric, what's a method called? I'll tell you, chill out. This one is going to be called void, which means that we're not returning any method, or we're not returning any data back to whatever called it. We're just gonna do stuff whenever the code tells it to. So public void fix machine, give it a simple name. We need parentheses here, and then you open some curly braces and close them. Anything in between these curly braces is code that belongs to the method. Alright, this is a method, like it's done. But we want to make it interesting. Some methods need what are called parameters, and that's what these parentheses are for here. A parameter is any information that a method needs to be able to do what it does. For example, in the fix machine method, I need to know which ice cream machine that I'm trying to fix. So we're going to use ice cream machine as a variable. Ice cream machine. And this just tells us that to perform this method needs an ice cream machine variable that this method is going to refer to as machine. Okay? And then inside here, we're going to simply type machine, because we're referring to the ice cream machine that we passed to the method, dot isWorking equals true. Okay, so no matter what, we're gonna set isWorking to true. Make sure that the machine's working. That's our first method. Okay, now that we've written our first method, we need to write a second one that will get the status of the machine and be able to communicate that to other classes. So we need public Boolean, that's our return type. We're going to be returning true or false. You know, this is working or it's not working. Get status. Okay, and we don't need any parameters for this. This will just simply tell whatever's asking the status of the machine. And then here, if we ever return stuff, so if your return type in a method is anything other than void, you need to have a return statement towards the end of the method once you've processed all the data and got it ready for whatever needs it. So we're going to type return this dot is working. Eric, what's the this keyword? The this keyword refers to that instance of the object. So just like how I said that classes can be used as variables, classes can also refer to themselves because they can be instantiated, meaning I'm going to later create an ice cream machine, and when I call the get status method, that instance of ice cream machine is going to be thinking to itself, okay, am I working, am I not working, tell whatever asked. And that's it. Now that we've done all this, we're not done. We need to go back over here and compile that. Then we need to make a new class, and you can call this ice cream machine runner, you can call it main, whatever you want, but this is gonna, have that main method in that we used in the last video. So I'm gonna call this ice cream shop, and that'll be the name of the application. Bam, done. And just like the last video, we need public static void main string args, bam, done. And in here we're going to finally instantiate that ice cream machine that we made. So ice cream machine, my ice cream machine equals, pay attention, new ice cream machine. Bam. Okay, so what we just did here is we made a new variable, and the data type of the variable is an ice cream machine. We gave it a name called my ice cream machine, and we set it equal to a new ice cream machine. And what that told the compiler to do is reserve some memory and generate a new ice cream machine for us to use. This is just like a method call, so it's going to have those parentheses, and you'll understand that more as we get into constructors. And now I'm just confusing you. Okay, we've written a bit of code, but we haven't done anything cool yet. So what we want to do now is demonstrate that all of those methods that we just wrote work. Starting with that first one, we can do system.out.println, and it's going to be my ice cream machine dot is get status, and we're not going to put a semicolon there because we're not done with the statement, but now we are. Okay, and I was going to run the console, but let's just go ahead and get the other ones out of the way as well, and then let's go ahead and fix the machine. System.out.println my ice cream machine dot get status. And what I just realized is that our ice cream machine, this is the ice cream shop, this is true by default. We want this false so we can show that our fix method works. And then in between these two get status lines, we're going to run that method. What do we call that? Fix machine. And we need the machine. Okay. So if I was actually writing this code as if it was, a real project, I would have simply done this.isWorking equals true, but I needed to demonstrate what parameters do, and this works just as well. Just a little extra code. It looks repetitive. Alright, so what we did, just to go over, is first we're going to print out the current status when the program starts. It's going to be false. Then we're going to fix the ice cream machine by calling that method that we wrote. We're going to pass the ice cream machine that we want to fix to that method. It's going to say, okay, I'm fixing you, fixing, done. It doesn't take that long. And then we're going to print out the new status after fixing the machine. Okay, we're going to mosey on over to this and compile it, compile that, and then run the made method from the ice cream shop. False, true. We did it. Okay, that was the bulk of the lesson, but we do have a couple other topics to touch on before we're completely finished with Unit 2. The first of which are wrapper classes. So wrapper classes, you're like, huh? What's that? 2 chains? No, it's not. Wrapper classes are classes that wrap over primitive data types. So for example, I have int, that's an integer. We've been over this. But there's also integer. Yeah. Weird, right? So these are great for if you need to convert your primitive data into a variable that's referenced in memory. And there's a lot of different uses for this, some of which are more advanced, but one I will tell you that is useful is integer.parseInt, because int doesn't have any methods, but the integer class does. And parseInt is a simple but extremely useful method. Basically, it'll take an integer and turn it into a string for you. It's similar to casting, only you do it through a method. Same with double. You can do double.parse double, and inside those parentheses, you'll put in the double that you want to be parsed into text. Yeah. The next thing we really need to go over is strings. So strings are just text. We can create a string by just doing it like any other variable. String, my string equals, and we'll do double quotes for any text. Type hello. Okay, so with string, we use capital S's because string is actually an object. It's not a primitive type. Char, character, is the primitive data type. And strings are arrays of chars. There's lots of stuff you can do with strings. I will post a link to some resources down in the description, but the string class has lots of methods that you can use to your advantage, like replace, find char at, concatenate, put 2 strings together. There's a ton of stuff I could go on. Alright, that's going to wrap us up for Unit 2. If you feel like I left anything out, please be sure to leave a comment and I'll cover it in the next video. As far as the string methods go, just hop on that link that I'll leave in the description and you'll be able to see the list. There's no way you're going to memorize them. Most of them are useful, and you'll just have to go back to it each time you need some string methods in a project. Besides that, we're good. We covered it. Done diddly. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and leave some feedback. I'm a new channel. I'm growing. I'm like a little seed that's trying to So yeah, see you in the next one.